how to create amazing brush sequences using shapes in Flame Painter Pro. So you can create all kinds of unique brushes using this approach. Now, at the moment, you can see what you've got is you've got just circles with that brush. But you can extend it so it can be zigzag designs, squares, whatever. And the key thing is Brush Creator. So go to the Brush Creator and the Shape section and dotted line as well as dots. So click on that. So now with dotted lines and dots selected, make certain Use Image is set on, and you will see that circle there. And what you can do, you can now, just going to quickly create a shape. Now there's no shape, vector shape feature in Flame Painter Pro, but you can use selections to create shapes. And there's all the various panels. So window menu if you want to see all the panels. Now I've got the selection tool and I'm going to use the polygon selection. Don't have to, you could use freehand, etc. And of course this thing could be filled with all kinds of things. It could be filled with images. It could be filled with a gradient, but I'm just going to fill it with white. So I'm just going to quickly create a quick polygon selection there. Just click on the document and just reposition and then click again. And create a zigzag design there. Now, as this is the first element in this sequence, just going to fill it with white. And of course, like I say, I could fill it with anything else, gradients, etc. But just fill it with white. As it's going to be the first in the sequence, you can just simply click that second entry there on the left side. This is in the dot opacity section. And that's in the shape. It's broken down, the Brush Creator, broken down into different categories. If you click along that section there, the dotted line or fill, you can see you've got obviously that option for the brush sequence disappears. It's only available via the dotted line. So click that, make certain that's selected, and also dots. And the second entry is what you want on the left. And that will add that zigzag to that sequence. And you'll notice it's got a 1/1 because it's the first entry. And it's also added at the same time to the image library. So you can always go back to it in the future. And you can display the image library simply by clicking the first entry. Now, if you want to add a new one, additional sequence entry, you have to click the plus. Now, I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to do that a little bit later. Firstly, I want to create another design, another shape. So I'm just going to quickly undo that design or clear it. And again, I'm going to use selection and then the polygon. Now, I don't have to do that. I could even create these designs using brush strokes, which I of course then can select and then add that way. But in this case, I'm using this shape. So let's finish that selection off. Because you've got another zigzag design, what you can then do is you can go to the fill tool again and then fill that with white again. Now, because it's the second entry, when you go there, don't click that entry there. Don't want to click that. What you want to do is go down to the little plus just below. There's the plus there. And with that plus, click that, and that will add another entry. But it doesn't add what you currently got as a selection. It doesn't know about that. It just adds the default, which is the circle. Now what you can do is you can go to that second entry, just below the image library button, and click that. And now you can see it's been added. So you've got 2/2, and you can actually scroll backwards and forwards between the two. And you can see when you do that, it just goes 1/2, 2/2. So you've got 2 entries. Now I'm going to fill it. You can fill it up to a maximum of 4. I don't know why 4 is the limit. That's just the limit. On my system anyway. Maybe on Maybe for you, it might go up to 20, I don't know. Now I'm using the freehand selection this time. So just to show you can use something different. There's a couple of entries. There's obviously the magic wand. There's also, so you can create all kinds of weird and wonderful designs. And again, you can fill that. You could fill it with a gradient. Just go to the fill tool again. And like I say, you could, of course, apply brush strokes to it. Don't have to use the fill. And then again, remember to click the plus down the bottom. Click that first, and it will again go to the default, which will be the circle. And then go to the second entry. Click that, and that freehand design will be added to the brush sequence. Now, also what you can do, of course, is you can add something you've already got in your brush library. So if you want a fourth entry, I could create another selection, but I'll also simply just click the plus there. And again, you've got the default circle. Now, I could go with the default circle, but I can also just go down to any of the entries in the library, click that. And now that you may have that design, that plus design, you may not. And that's it, 4 of 4. Now you'll notice the plus is suddenly no longer available. That's the limit. Now in this one, this example, the sequence, you can make it random or you can make it sequential. And you can vary it. Just try it. Click on it and see if you like the random or you like it sequential. So what would sequential means is you've got zigzag, zigzag, then the freehand, and then the plus. Random means it just, you could have like plus, 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 then freehand and so on. Now I'm using the follow, so you can just apply it. And of course, at the moment it's being applied using the current color, and that's white. And you can see now, you can see the designs added there. And you can see that's random. You can change it. We can make it sequential. So when you do it sequential, you can see then, so you've got zigzag, zigzag, freehand, plus, zigzag, zigzag, and so on and so on. So it just goes sequentially through that 1, 2, 3, and 4. Up to you what you want to do. And again, you can change the color. You don't have to have white. You can maybe go with the gradients. So just go and change the gradient. And you can see again this play. And of course, you can vary the size. I mean, at the moment, it's very small. You can change the size. You can change the particles. You can also change a variety of other things. Then at that point, when you go too far, if you make it really all over the place, I don't think it really matters, particularly if it's sequential or random, because you just can't tell. But certainly when it's just a nice line, it obviously makes a difference. You can see there, it doesn't make any difference, particularly if it's random or not. So you've got your design, you've got your brush. Well, you want to save it, of course, that would, because you've got a brushes panel there and you want to save it to the brushes. What you can do, you can go to the brush creator. Of course, you can change some of the other settings as well. But the brush creator is where you can add a new brush preset. And you can use any of the gradients. There's loads of different gradients available. And of course, you can always change the designs if you wish as well. So go to the right side menu and save as new brush preset. And that's in the brush creator. Click that and it will display a little panel. And there's the panel. What you can do is you can draw your icon. So this icon is the one that's going to be used in the brushes panel. And that's quite sluggish, actually, to be honest. It does seem to take a few minutes to to think about it. Eventually, it does let you actually access the fields. I don't know why. It just seems to be thinking about it. Maybe it's thinking about adding some more additional brushstroke. But once you have got that, you can then, of course, add and yeah, there it is. Suddenly let you access it. And you can give it a name, whatever you want. And you can also give it a type. Now I generally just go with paint. And then tags, you can give it some tags, zigzags, whatever you want to call it. And then you can click save. If you go over to the brushes panel, you can now see your brush there. You can click it and apply it. It doesn't store the color. So the color is whatever you have in the palette. So if you go to another brush and then go back to that brush, it's not using the stored gradient. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Please subscribe to the Graphic Extra channel, always adding new tutorials about Flame Painter Pro, Photoshop, Illustrator, and many, many others. Also, please add some comments, always appreciated. It's always nice to hear. A dislike or like. Thank you much.